Dogs have a very rich repertoire of body language signals which are called displays. From the aroused or alert posture, A, with erect tail and ears, the animal can move into various positions that display emotional reactions and behavioral intentions such as F, the stiffly wagged tail, direct stare and snarl of an aggressive dog, to one where the body weight shifts backwards, G to H, and the tail is lowered. In this position, we have what is described as a defensive-aggressive rather than offensive-aggressive posture. From this position, the animal could go into the display of complete submission, curling up and remaining completely still on the ground. From this position, I, the animal might roll over onto one side, maintaining its passive submissive display, and urinate submissively, very much like a young puppy, J. Other body language displays in the dog include active as distinct from passive submission, where the dog crouches but moves its tail in a submissive greeting, D. Then there is the familiar display of play soliciting, C, where the dog bows, wags its tail, and may raise one front paw in a solicitous gesture. One theory about the origin of the play bow is that it is derived from a stretching action when one animal yawns and communicates its relaxed behavior to another. This can serve as a meta-communication signal to establish a relaxed mood, so that after stretching, what follows next is not serious. In other words, a play bow signals that what comes next, such as a seemingly aggressive snap or lunge, is not really serious but playful. Look again, G, at the displays or body language postures, and you will note that the dog can alter its mood, and as it does so, it either expands or contracts. The expansive, outgoing displays are either assertive, aggressive, confident, or playful. The more contracted displays are related to fear, aggression, and passive submission. Some dogs, rather like people, will assume as part of their character either a contracted or expanded demeanor, so it is possible to some degree of accuracy to evaluate the personality as well as the emotional state and intention of an individual dog by the way in which it generally carries its body, head, and tail. This one is clearly fearful and is giving a defensive snarl. This dog is obviously depressed, emaciated, and ill. Contrast the demeanor of this dog with another that was in a similar condition before it was rehabilitated. This dog radiates health and overall well-being. I will now give some more specific examples of dog body language. The passive submissive behavior of rolling over onto one side is a friendly gesture. Here one dog is presenting its posterior groin or inguinal region to a more dominant dog. It is rolled over onto one side and is elevating the uppermost hind leg. This display, especially in young dogs, is often accompanied by submissive urination. Owners frequently make the mistake of disciplining their dogs when this behavior occurs, and they should not, because such piddling is a sign of deference to the owner. Konrad Lorenz, in his book Man Meets Dog, suggested that the subordinate dog presents its throat, the most vulnerable part of its body, to the dominant animal as a sign of complete surrender. This is not true, however. What the wolf or dog does is to present the groin region as a sign of submission. Here, a subordinate wolf has rolled over onto one side and has elevated its uppermost hind leg to display its submission towards the pack leader. After this photograph was taken, the subordinate wolf urinated, and the dominant wolf bent down and licked up a little of the urine. This behavior by the dominant wolf is related to parental care, and here we have the secret of this groin display revealed. The display of passive submission associated with urination is derived from mother-infant interaction. It goes this way. With a very young puppy, which is unable to urinate for itself, the mother will approach it via the groin area and will lick the genitals and reflexively stimulate urination. This is a highly adaptive form of behavior because it helps keep the den clean, for the puppies only eliminate when they are stimulated by the mother, who ingests everything. As the puppy matures and is able to eliminate independent of stimulation by the mother, it will still remain passive when touched in the groin region, and it may actually urinate, but now as a submissive signal. When you see an adult dog approaching you in a friendly way, it will often present the groin area to be touched, and when you touch its groin, the dog will often roll over. Here, a coyote-dog hybrid is avoiding eye contact and presenting its groin, which is being gently touched by a coyote. The skin fold in the groin also contains scent glands, which dogs sniff when they interact with each other. The tactical importance of making groin contact with your hand while handling a dog cannot be emphasized enough. When a dog approaches you in a friendly fashion, it will orient its hips toward you and will present its flank or groin. When you touch the groin, this is the equivalent of a human handshake. It's a friendly thing to do. Notice at this dog show how one of the handlers is touching the Doberman in the groin. He is not simply lifting the animal up to reposition its hind legs. He is calming the animal down. Yes, touching the groin does help calm an animal down, and this is one of the reasons why veterinarians are able to handle dogs so easily while they are taking the femoral pulse inside the groin. One should, however, avoid handling a strange dog in the groin area if it does not present the groin to you. The groin area is the first psychologically important key area of communicating through body language with the dog. There are other key areas, such as the muzzle, that I will talk about shortly. As distinct from the passive submissive display of rolling over onto one side, the active submissive display of greeting is a much more open body gesture. Here, a wolf and a dingo are greeting each other and expressing their playful intention. This is one of the body language postures that people can mimic in communicating with their dog, and I like to encourage children to mimic the dog's play bow when signaling their intentions to play with their own dog or one that they know. Human beings are not the only animals to use tools. Dogs do in fact use tools in certain situations. A stick can be a social tool or catalyst for play. In the upper picture, the dog is holding a stick and is inviting the other dog to play. Various things can happen. The dog without the stick could make a grab, and a tug of war or play fighting or a chase might follow. In this upper picture, the larger Irish wolfhound was not interested in a stick game. He preferred to dig holes in the lawn, but eventually the playful dog found a companion who would engage in various play activities focused around the stick tool. I find it somewhat disturbing when many dog owners do not play with their dogs and in fact don't seem to know how to play. Animals that play together stay together. And certainly, once a person or child knows how to play with a dog, the relationship is strengthened and enriched. Now to look at some of the aggressive displays of the dog. Here, a dominant dingo is clasping the groin of a subordinate. Mounting and clasping in this way is often misinterpreted as sexual behavior, but in fact, sexual, mounting and clasping actions are often a sign of dominance in dogs, as well as primates and other animals. In the next picture, the subordinate dingo has rolled over onto one side in passive submission. Notice how the dominant one is standing over it and is very stiff and erect in its posture, with the tail in a vertical arched position which is wagged stiffly. Again, people often misinterpret tail wagging as always being a friendly signal. A stiff tail wag can mean dominant and aggressive intent. As soon as the subordinate dingo moved, the dominant one attacked it, biting it on the cheek region. This is an example of ritualized aggression where animals only attack certain parts of another animal's body which will not cause serious injury. The cheek and shoulder scruff regions are areas which can sustain considerable assault without serious injury to the animal. Dogs generally only go for the throat region when they are fighting seriously. But when one is simply asserting or displaying dominance over another or playing, they will instead go for the cheek region, shoulder scruff area, or sometimes for the muzzle. What is particularly significant in this picture is the fact that when the subordinate dingo moved, it was physically attacked. Very often when an owner has his own dog running free in the park and another dog comes along and dominates it, the subordinate dog will remain passive, but as soon as its owner approaches, it attempts to move. Owners should attempt to stay calm and cool and keep their distance and allow nature to take its course, because when the owner does intervene, his dog might feel that it is being rescued and will break out of its passive submissive display and could then be severely injured. Conversely, if the owner's dog is the one on top displaying its dominance, it could feel that its owner is coming in to join in the attack, a pack instinct or socially facilitated response. This might result in a breakdown of the ritual inhibition of aggression and could mean that the subordinate dog is severely injured. This photograph of ritualized aggression in the wolf shows clearly how the passive submissive behavior of the subordinate wolf cuts off the aggression of the dominant one, who is simply standing over it and giving a direct stare. Not all domestic dogs, however, will respect such rituals, and some dogs will fight to kill or cause serious injury to another animal. The problem then is how to break up a dog fight. We should think first, of course, of human safety, and not encourage the owner to get his or her body in between the two animals. The last thing that people should do is to attempt to pick up and hold their pet, because they too might be attacked. As a consequence of domestication, selective breeding, and training, many domestic dogs today lack the natural controls of aggression that you see in the wolf. Here, two pit bull terriers are literally fighting to the death. This is an example of unethical human exploitation of the basic nature of the dog. Some fighting enthusiasts claim that it is natural and normal for their dogs to behave in this way, but of course this is false. These animals have been selectively bred and trained to behave in this way. Dog fights are best broken up when people can keep their cool and put some object, such as a coat, a broom, or trash lid, between the two animals. Prevention, of course, is the best approach, and dog owners should be encouraged to keep their dogs leashed. When a dog is leashed and is out walking with the owner, it may be more aggressive towards other dogs because the owner is part of its territory. Owners who do have their dog on the leash should be advised, when they are approached by a strange dog, to remain quiet and to realize that if they start shouting and pulling their dog on the leash, they could incite their dog or the other to attack. When two dogs meet, generally one will remain passive and will allow the other to investigate. Then the one doing the investigating remains passive and allows the other one to sniff it. Such potentially peaceful interactions can be disrupted when one dog will not stand and allow the other one to sniff it, as when the owner starts pulling its dog away on the other end of the leash. When a person is approached by a strange dog, it is helpful in averting a possible attack for the person to remain quite still and allow the dog to sniff and investigate. This is part of the normal good manners of being a dog, and if people realize this, it could certainly reduce the incidence of people being bitten by dogs. It is sudden movement that will make a dog attack, and the most fatal thing that a dog or person can do is to move suddenly or to attempt to run away when confronted with or challenged by an aggressive dog or surrounded by curious ones. Then one is more likely to be chased and bitten than if one, or one's dog, stands quietly and allows the other animals to approach and investigate. I have placed considerable emphasis upon this question of dog bites because an estimated 1 million people are bitten by dogs in the US each year. This means that something is seriously wrong in the relationship between dogs and people. I feel that a lot of people don't know how to behave around a strange dog, such as one that is afraid. I also believe that a dog that does bite without due cause can be a product of improper breeding, because we do know that bite inhibition is genetically transmitted and is an inherited behavior that should be selected for. Also, a dog that is not raised correctly, is not socially adjusted during its puppyhood to regard people as dominant pack leaders as well as loving parents, can grow up to be a social delinquent that has no qualms about biting anybody. Overindulgent, permissive rearing generally results in such a dog. Another aspect of dog bites should be emphasized, what I call the biological accident, as for example when a dog misinterprets the sudden approach of a child as a threat when the dog is eating. A jogger or bicyclist may not be seen as a human being as such, but as a moving, receding object to be chased. In other words, the sneakers or the bicycle could be perceived by the dog as prey to be chased and bitten. What I advise under such circumstances is for the bicyclist or jogger to stop, turn around, face up to the dog, and talk to it in a normal voice to inform the dog that one is a human being and is not simply a stimulus that releases the instinctive, prey-chasing and biting behavior of the dog. Dog bites could be significantly reduced through proper breeding, improved rearing and training, and through educating people and children in the way to behave around dogs and to understand whether a dog's intentions are friendly or not. Another very important aspect of dog behavior is how animals orient in relation to each other when they are interacting. As you may have often seen, dogs will approach each other side-on and will frequently engage in circling before one stands still and allows the other to sniff it. Strange dogs generally avoid a frontal or face-to-face approach. Frontal approaches occur when animals know each other and there are obvious playful or friendly intentions, or when rivals meet. Notice here, 3 subordinate wolves are approaching the dominant one. The high-ranking one is up on his toes with tail erect in a display of dominance, while the lower-ranking wolves are submissively close to the ground and are approaching him sideways. It is very important when approaching and handling a strange dog to avoid direct eye contact and a frontal approach. Handlers and judges at dog shows who approach a strange dog frontally deserve to be nipped when they ignore this important social ritual of approaching sideways as a friendly and respectful canine gesture. A direct stare, as between 2 human beings, 2 dogs, or a dog and a human being, can be a challenge. Notice how the dominant dog is literally looking daggers at the subordinate, who is submissively avoiding eye contact. A direct stare is a challenge and can intimidate an animal to behave submissively and passively. If you know the dog or are confident about handling it, a direct stare can be a form of very effective social control. It is also essential when disciplining a dog prior to giving a verbal command to establish eye contact. But with an animal that you are not sure about, avoid challenging it with a direct stare because it could respond by attacking. While the dominant one will give a direct stare as a challenge, it may also avoid eye contact, not as a sign of submission, but as a sign of indifference. Here, a low-ranking wolf is approaching a pack leader. Notice the pack leader is literally ignoring it by breaking eye contact. It's rather like you saying hi to someone and he avoids eye contact and gives you the cold shoulder. This is another way of asserting dominance. The next psychological key area in both dogs and wolves is the muzzle. Seizing a dog around the muzzle is a very effective method of control and assertion of dominance. Here, the dominant wolf on the left is seizing the muzzle of the subordinate wolf, but its jaws do not actually close over the muzzle. The bite is inhibited. Similar behavior is seen as a ritualized form of greeting in wolves and in certain wolf-like breeds of dog, such as the Malamute. It is much harder for a dog to open its jaws than to close them because of the arrangement of the musculature. Perhaps this is why putting a muzzle on a dog or seizing it firmly around the muzzle is such an effective way of controlling an aggressive animal and asserting dominance over it. The ideal way for an owner or handler to assert dominance over a dog in order to facilitate behavioral control is to seize the muzzle in one hand and to grab the scruff of the neck in the other. With larger dogs, of course, this can be risky, but once a muzzle can be placed on the animal, it is indeed remarkable how its behavior will quickly change from one of aggression and assertion to one of submission and compliance. Using a come-along with extreme care and discretion, or simply a choke chain and a leash around the animal's neck, is another form of psychological domination, analogous to one dog seizing another around the shoulder scruff and holding it or shaking it. In summary, therefore, there are two keys to assert dominance and control over a dog: the shoulder scruff region, which can be held or shaken, and the muzzle region, which can be seized and held or muzzled with a gauze bandage or other suitable material. There is clearly no need for a person to strike a dog. In fact, hitting a dog in order to dominate or control it is quite unnecessary, and with some breeds, particularly terriers, could mean aggressive retaliation. Once the right social relationship has been established, with eye contact and an appropriate growling voice, one can effectively control most dogs where friendly voice and actions, including groin or inguinal contact and petting, fail to establish a harmonious rapport. Submissive wolves and dogs engage in face-oriented licking, kissing if you wish. Here, a low-ranking wolf is licking inside the snarling muzzle of the alpha or lead wolf. This behavior is derived from the cub soliciting food from the mother. Here, a young cub is licking and pulling at the lips of the mother to make her regurgitate food. The ethological theory is that this behavior of food soliciting persists into maturity as face-oriented licking. It would be very interesting to see what an adult dog would do when kissing its owner if the owner were to suddenly regurgitate half his dinner. There are other intriguing aspects of dog behavior which can give us a deeper appreciation of dog psychology. For example, the way in which dogs will mark trees and fire hydrants. This is an important social ritual. Dogs, when out on the leash, should be given plenty of time to sniff these scent posts, because it is perhaps analogous to a human being reading the newspaper. Dogs mark trees and other vertical objects not so much to stake out their territory, but rather, I believe, to leave a calling card. Look at these dogs taking turns to urinate on an unfortunate bush. Each dog carefully watches as one marks and then places its own mark on the same bush. Dogs that are closely bonded, especially females and males, will carefully mark over where their companions have marked. In cities, this social ritual can have a significant environmental impact and may contribute to the death of many young trees. It is also a very potent health hazard for communicable canine diseases, particularly leptospirosis and canine hepatitis. Sometimes their marking behavior surprises us with its accuracy and deliberation. When a dog has finished marking, it will often scrape the ground with its feet. This is not a rudimentary form of cat-like covering up or burying behavior, but rather leaves a very clear visual mark on the ground where the animal has been. This is much like a leopard which, after spraying a tree, will rear up and rake the tree with its front claws. One of the most obnoxious behaviors for many owners is the behavior of the dog when it finds some foul-smelling material. Dogs love to roll in obnoxious organic material because they have such a highly evolved sense of smell, probably 1,000,000 times greater than ours. I believe that they have an aesthetic sense in this modality. They like to wear odors, much as we, a more visual species, like to wear bright clothes or something different for a while. Wolves enjoy rolling in meat or some other food they particularly like before they actually eat it. This again may mean that wearing certain odors is an aesthetic experience, the aroma remaining to be savored long after the meal has been eaten. Notice the animal's facial expression. The eyes are almost closed, a sign of pleasure. The facial expressions of dogs are indeed rich and varied. Few people realize that a dog can express more than one emotion at one time. Here we see varying degrees of intensity of certain expressions which signal the animal's emotional state and intentions. In the upper, from the right row, there is a trend towards increasing submission with the ears moving backwards and the lips being pulled back in a submissive grin. The left-hand vertical column, looking down from top to bottom, shows increasing aggression or threat, with a direct stare, vertical retraction of the lips, and a very clear snarl and display of the teeth. The bottom row, moving from left to right, shows an animal shifting from aggression to increasing fear and submission. Notice how the animal in the bottom right picture shows a simultaneously combined expression or superimposition of the submissive or fearful grin with the aggressive snarl. This is typical of the fear biter. It is a sign of ambivalence. So, dogs can show not only one expression, they can vary the intensity of the expression, and they can combine more than one expression at the same time. In this slide, two coyotes are interacting. The one on the left is showing the display of defensive aggression, and this, in fact, is the more submissive animal, even though it seems to be showing more teeth. Its lips are pulled back in a submissive grin, and its ears have also been vertically retracted to display the teeth as a defensive aggressive signal. The coyote on the right is the dominant animal, showing the offensive snarl. The lips are pulled forward and the canine teeth are displayed. This animal is also giving the other a direct stare. Contrast these offensive and defensive aggressive displays with the displays here of the wolf on the left being courted by a malamute. The malamute is showing a submissive, not quite so sure how she will accept me grin, while the wolf is showing a more confident, open mouth, friendly play face. Domestic dogs also show a complete mimic of the human grin, where the lips are retracted vertically, as in this coonhound. Sometimes this display is misinterpreted by people as an aggressive signal, while in reality the dog is doing nothing more than making a rather toothy greeting grin at its human companions. Here, a subordinate wolf is approaching the dominant one sideways and retracting its lips in a submissive grin, much like the junior in the office will give a toothless smile to the boss. It is generally safe to approach any dog showing a submissive grin in this way. Here, a wolf, very much as a dog would, gives a playful hug to its companion. Notice the open mouth, play face, and half-closed eyes of the wolf, a very clear expression of joy. It is indeed remarkable how similar much of the body language and facial expressions of dogs and humans are. The more we can come to understand the behavior, emotions, and intentions of dogs, the more enriched our relationships will be with them. We will also be able to handle them and communicate more easily with them, and above all, through understanding their ways, come to appreciate their intrinsic worth as sensitive, intelligent beings. Understanding your dog. How do you understand your dog? Well, let the dog teach you. Understanding your dog includes knowing the dog's body language and how they communicate to you their needs and intentions. Come, sit, sit. When the ears go back, just like this, that's a sign of submission, because you're the leader. Sometimes they'll raise a paw too. What are you going to raise? The paw raising, which is easier to train like a human handshake, is also the dog's sign of submission, because it's the intention signal before they roll over onto one side to show that they are absolutely submissive in your presence and you are the leader and the overlord. So let's see if you'll do that. Yes. Yes. And then they will often elevate the uppermost hind leg, so touch them there in the groin. This is what mama dog does with the puppies to clean them. You notice she's grinning too. That's another friendly signal. Dogs are not mimicking our expressions here. This is the dog's grin. So you look at the face and the ears and the whole body language. Let's get up now. What else are you going to say? Yes. Yes. Dogs talk with their voices too. They'll give you a growl or a friendly howl and a sing-along. They also use their eyes too. A direct stare is a threat. So when you're trying to get your dog's attention, in obedience training too, give a direct stare. Hush! What I'm doing is mimicking the dog's play bow. I'm being a Dr. Dolittle. Notice the tail here. The tail's coming up. This is the dominant signal. This is like the lead wolf, and the subordinate remains completely passive while she's being sniffed. You see Mouse, the husky, has the ears forwards too. She's moving slowly. She is the top dog. See how your dog is just lying there, being very obedient. Dog body language in action. Yes, come on. Yes. See the play bow and the dodge. Let's us practice it. Can you do a dog bow with me? Come on. Like this. Now what am I doing? I'm saying, let's play. Now we chase. We'll let them chase. It's a bit too hot. Now they're just playing hide and seek around us now. Now Mouse is doing pretty well for a 15-year-old there. Now they're engaging in what we call play fighting. They're kind of going at each other's scruffs and cheeks. Now Mouse is being boss and Puppy is rolling over and being submissive, but all this is play now. This is play fighting. They're the greatest film stars. Let me join in too. Yes, yes. So you can play fight with your own dog too. A good area to attack is around the cheeks here. And the dog is biting me back, but it's an inhibited bite. Because they have a sense of humor. Now don't get overheated. Off you go. Another play bow. Catch me if you can. Whee! Animals who play together stay together. Whoops! And play is one of the best exercises, and it appalls me that people just don't tune into their pets enough and play with them. And if you have two dogs, it's a better idea than having one because they're going to keep each other entertained all the time. You see who's the top dog there? Look at that. There's a little growl there too. Come on, Mouse, how about a massage? Pet massage, massaging your dog. Touch is love, but touch, knowing touch, also heals. We have a power in our hands, a healing power. And when we apply this energy to various parts of the dog's anatomy, it has a beneficial effect. Massage will help a very young puppy who's on the timid side trust you more. With older dogs, massage helps the circulation. A dog with arthritis can greatly benefit from a regular daily massage. Lots of dogs have genetic defects too, very long backs, and there's a lot of muscle strain here. Those with hip dysplasia, they too will benefit from massage. So let's see how it's done. Come on. Initially, the dog might be a little disturbed by the invasion of having a deeper touch rather than the usual superficial stroke. So take it easy. 4 or 5 minutes, just getting used to a slight squeeze like this to begin with. And you'll feel the muscles relaxing underneath you. Be sure that the dog is in a comfortable, relaxed position, and be sure that you are too. Otherwise, after a regular massage sequence, which lasts about 20 minutes, you might need massage therapy yourself. I do recommend my book, The Healing Touch, because I describe in detail the dog's basic anatomy and the various strokes to use. And I'll show you a few of the pointers right now. The dog's shoulder blade comes up here. Ours are kind of back behind here. We're twisted around in an odd way. So our muscle mass is quite different from the dog. There are also various lymph glands to look out for in the neck, the shoulder blade, and the groin, and back here. And if you feel any unusual swelling as you get used to feeling your animal all over, you can call the veterinarian early. And this is one of the prime virtues of regular massage. It has a diagnostic value. You might notice a swelling or a painful area. Painful area here could mean a slipped disc, or down here, sudden pain could mean kidney problem. Swellings up here could mean that your dog has lymphatic cancer or a blocked salivary gland. Pain massaging around the ears could mean an infected ear that you hadn't noticed. So let's just look at the whole sequence now. I begin my massage system around the head. And the stroking and the massage, which just involves a gentle kneading as though you're kneading bread, it results in a decrease in the animal's heart rate. You're bringing about the relaxation response. And it'll benefit you too, because as you pet or massage the animal, your blood pressure goes down also. There are muscles here called the temporal muscles and the masseter muscles that can be massaged and felt over. As you get used to your dog's anatomy and where the muscles are, you might feel certain abnormalities like a swollen lymph gland here, or a little bit of pain that could mean arthritis in the jaw. And then you realize that massage has diagnostic value as well. You might be able to detect a physical problem very early so that you can get your pet to the veterinarian without delay. Massage along the neck too. The dog spends all day with the head up, and when they relax and start going to sleep, these muscles go. This is why dogs love to be touched behind the ears too. So massage deeply along the neck, the back of the neck. There's a whole ridge of muscles on each side of the vertebrae. The vertebrae are the bones down the back, and the muscles go all the way down along each side. And there are certain points called acupressure points. Let's turn you around and show your back. Come on, this way. Good. Yes. That's the turn around. Yes. Sit. Sit, mouse. Sit. Yes. All the way down the back here. And I like to use thumb and fingers, just kneading gently. Go deep. If the animal begins to tense, then lay off the pressure a little bit. Initially, some dogs will be a little apprehensive at such close intimacy. But as they get used to the massage, just as if you were being massaged by a human being, they will relax more into it, and you will be able to get much deeper and find your contact more and more effective. This muscle goes all the way down, the full length, finishing up down here. And there are certain points that you can press. See how the skin moves. This is an acupressure point. And it's very beneficial just to touch on each side and just hold the pressure lightly for a short while. If the dog shows sudden pain in an area anywhere along the back, it might have a slipped disc, or it could have kidney problems or abdominal pain. And this again is part of the diagnostic value of massage. Next, let's look at the limbs. The shoulders here fit on the side, so to speak. Ours are back here. The shoulders have muscles in the front and the back, so just knead around as though you're playing with dough. And feel around the bones. You'll find the point of the shoulder here, and the elbow is here. Come on. Now you can massage your dog standing up or lying down while you're watching television or listening to a video or some music. Let's see if Mouse will lie down. This is the first time she's ever had a massage session, so she's being very good so far. Let's lie down. Good girl. Yes, there we go. Now the limbs, I find it very valuable if you extend and flex. Extend and flex. As you flex, which is pushing up, and then extend, all the muscles reflexively relax even more. Then seize the elbow here and just knead around the muscles in the back. All the way down, the muscles between the toes, and look between the toes too. There might be a little soreness there. You might find a splinter or a thorn or a piece of glass. And get working, pull it out. Flex and extend. Give extra massage around the joints, the knee joints. This is the wrist, really. It looks like a knee in a human being. This is the wrist. And the elbow. Especially in older dogs where you have a little arthritis and in large growing giant breed puppies like Great Danes. They're very susceptible to strains and sprains of these ligaments. Massage around here just for a few minutes every day will be of immense benefit. Yes. Now with the dog on the side, do the chest as well. There are pectoral muscles here, the breast muscles. Work on those. Sometimes the dog will start scratching when you touch here, and that might be a sign that you've got a load of fleas on your hands. Yes. Well, you can see from her grin that she's really enjoying this. The canine grin of enjoyment. After you've done the muscles around the chest, the pectoral muscles, work around the chest. There are intercostal muscles here, muscles between the ribs. Just feel your way down and knead and knead and knead. Then you move to the abdomen and just knead the dough of bread, just gently around. I recommend doing this because the animal who relaxes its abdomen is really going into deeper and deeper relaxation. And it makes it much easier for the veterinary surgeon to palpate your dog when he needs to examine the abdomen. And now the hind legs. Again, the basic anatomy. The hip bone is up here. Locate the hip bone and just work around it with 3 fingers or your thumb. Again, flex and extend the leg. The more you flex, the more it extends, the longer it gets. I'm not using any force here. The dog is simply relaxing reflexively all these muscles. Okay. Yes, yes. You will feel tremendously powerful muscles here. Massage them in the back and all the way down the Achilles tendon, because this is the heel of the dog. We walk on our heels, but we're the really flat-footed species. Dogs and most other animals walk on their toes, and this is the heel area. You see the tendon here, massage all the way down and to the point of insertion. And then again, as with the forefoot, with the hind foot, work between all the bones. There are long bones here, and the fingers and toes of the dog are compressed in here. These are the metatarsal bones that go all the way down, and between each of them are little tendons and muscles, so just work around. And flex and extend the toes too. And then turn the dog over and do the legs on the other side. I like to finish the massage sequence with what I call a passing of the hands. Many healers feel that this is very beneficial because they believe that there is an aura around the human or the animal. And simply give a light strokes. Talk to the dog in a gentle voice. Yes, this is so good. Just relax. Yes. And you touched all the points that count. Your hands have shown you whether the dog has pain or swelling anywhere in its body. Your hands have helped you relax your pet and also helped heal him because of the healing energy. Your fingertips have also helped you find any sore spots, any infections that might need veterinary attention. And as you finish the massage, just do these slow, relaxing strokes all the way down. And you might wish to give praise and thanks to the healing energies that we all possess. They're not ours. We can simply share them and be the intermediaries for these great powers that really are quite beyond our rational understanding.